Let us now take a look at some exceptions to the nomenclature of type 1 and type 2 compounds. Let us take a look at these two compounds. AgBr and ZnF2. Immediately you see them, the very first thing you would think about is, oh, this is silver and this is zinc. On the periodic table, they should be from the transition metal region. And you would be thinking about naming them like type 2 compounds. Please do not. The reason is because silver will always have a charge of +1. Always. And since it has only one charge, there is no reason to place that charge in a parenthesis. It would be the same thing as placing a charge for sodium in a parenthesis. That makes no sense because sodium is always +1. It is from group 1A. So, compounds of silver do not need to have the 1 in a parenthesis. And in the same way, compounds of zinc do not need to have the +2 in a parenthesis because zinc is always +2. So if we want to name these two compounds, although silver is a transition metal, we will not name it like type 2 compound. We will name it like type 1 compound, which means we would simply name it as silver bromide. The charge will not be included, just like we do for type 1 compounds. We don't place their charges in a parenthesis. Also, we will simply name this compound as zinc fluoride. Again, we will not place the charge in a parenthesis because zinc is always +2. Let us take a look at the two compounds at the bottom here. Immediately you look at them, you are thinking, lead and tin. They are not transition metals. They are from group 4A. And you are thinking, oh, I should name them like type 1 compounds. So you may be tempted to name the first one PbCl2 lead chloride. And you may be tempted to name SnO2 as tin oxide. Please do not. The reason is because these two elements, lead and tin, have multiple charges. Lead in some compounds will have a charge of +2, or in some compounds it will have a charge of +4. Which means whenever we want to name its compound, we will have to be specific about which of the two charges. Also, tin can have a charge of +2 in some compounds, or tin can have a charge of +4 in some compounds, which means we have to be specific. Let us take a look at the first compound here, PbCl2. We have two chlorine atoms, and chlorine has a charge of -1 in the periodic table because it is from group 7A, which means that the two atoms of chlorine will have a total of -2. Which means that to balance out the -2, the lead must have a charge of +2. And that means that the name of this compound is lead 2 chloride. Again, we will need to specify the charge because lead has multiple charges. Also, in SnO2, we have 2 atoms of oxygen, and each oxygen atom has a charge of -2, so the total negative will be -4. And that means that the total positive must also be +4. So if we want to name this compound, we will have to name it as tin 4 oxide. We will need to specify which charge we're talking about. So anytime you see these 2 elements, silver and zinc, although they are transition metals, please do not name their compounds like we name other transition metal compounds. Also, anytime you see these 2 elements, lead and tin, although they are not transition metal compounds, but we always name their compounds like we name transition metal compounds because they have multiple charges. So we will need to specify which charge we are talking about.